Hello all and welcome to the latest Craft Mania Sunday Showcase. I'm Jamie and I'm going to be your host today as I take you through some brand new, very exciting products. We're going to be looking at a whole collection of dies, stamps and embossing folders, which I think you're really going to love. Now, as a little word of warning, last week's Sunday Showcase we got to play with the lovely waterfall cards. They actually sold out by Monday morning. We had them in stock for less than 24 hours before our humongous stock levels had sold out. With that in mind, I just want to give you a little warning that with this showcase, I expect the same. So if you do want to get your hands on the products I show you, please make sure you get online, you either click and collect them in store, or you can order them to be delivered to you, of course, or if you wish to, you can pop on Facebook or YouTube and actually just comment of the items you want and the store you wish to collect from, and we'll have them held for you. We'll run through all of that again a little later, but do please make sure you get them held or ordered. So many people have been coming in throughout the week in drips and drabs and saying, oh, I really want that waterfall bundle, and sadly they're long gone. We have got more stocks coming and they should be with us any day, but I don't want you to have to wait. Get them while we've got them, so get in quickly. Today I have two different bundles I'm going to show you, and then of course being a Sunday Showcase we have a mega bundle as well. With the bundle A and bundle B you've got a nice saving to be had as well. If you don't want to go for the whole lot you can just sort of pick a little bundle instead. But if you do want to save big, hold on for the mega bundle and we'll show you that in a minute. But let's show you bundle A to begin with. Now we've tried to design these sets so you've got some really lovely components that can work together to make some really lovely cards. So in bundle A to begin with, we have a gorgeous set of stamps. Now I know quite a lot of you get sort of bamboozled by stamps, not too sure what to do with them, not too sure if you're going to get that much use out of them. This set is lovely. There is so much we can do with this. I've got lots of bits on my cards today I'm going to show you from this set, and then at the end of the video I've got quite a few different pieces that I've made that I haven't had a chance to turn into cards, but should hopefully give you a few more ideas with them as well. Now, all of the items I'm going to show you today you can buy individually, so if you don't want to buy them in a bundle, you can just buy them per item. So I'm going to give you the codes as we go. If you do wish to, of course, you can pop online and order these at any time. If you do wish to have them held on Facebook, YouTube, or if you're going to give us a call or text us, please use this code and then it will just clarify this so we know what items you actually want. Sometimes I get very confused trying to pick which ones you want, and the last thing we want to do is have the wrong items held for you, especially if the rest of it does go on to sell out and then we have the wrong bits held for you. That's not good. So, codes please. This is your set of stamps that we were looking at. They are $8.99 and they are code D113F. So that's D113F, $8.99. Moving on, we have an oval creator card die. Now this one is code D117F and this one is only $15.99. We often have creator card dies on our videos. We've done quite a few different designs over the last couple of years. Every one of them is stunning. I personally have quite a collection of them now. I just love them, and especially when you compare them to other brands that are out there, $15.99 is a really good price for a creator card style die, and I'm sure you'll agree they're just stunning to work with. All of our dies cut really, really easily. I think you're going to find these cut like a dream if you haven't had them before. Moving on, we have these. Now, these are new. I've never seen a version of these before. They're like little topper pieces. Again, they've kept very much with their theme. They have these lovely flowers and leaves cut into the top of them. So they coordinate perfectly with the majority of the dies I'm going to show you today. The code for these ones is D116F and they're only $8.99, which is great because it means they're sort of £3 an item, aren't they? So that's not too expensive. And of course, so many options we can use them for. Moving on, we have quite a clever little die set for you. This circle and border set has been very nicely designed. Not only do we have sort of a scalloped edge to our circle, they've also gone through and put all these lovely little dots in it for us. So if you do like doing your stitching or your spirelli style cards, there's certainly a lot we could use those for. Or of course we can use them to hang on to cards and sort of create our own tags and bits with them. In the middle of the circle, you'll notice there's a freestanding circle as well. This obviously can be used to create a layer to go on top of it, or like I've done above here, we can use it to cut out the middle of it, which certainly gives you quite a few options as well to create frames and pieces like that. And of course, you could layer them on top of filled-in circles so that we can create different styles using that technique as well. On the side here, you're going to notice that we've got this really lovely border die with the flowers in as well. There's so many ways we can use this. I've resisted temptation today, but of course we could cut it about quite a bit as well, just to create different sort of filigree floral parts as well to go into our designs. That one is D114F and is $11.99. Now the 4 items I've shown you, which are your stamps, your create a card die, your topper dies and this set, all go together to create bundle A. Now bundle A has a grand price or recommended price of £45.96, but if you do wish to buy it all as one set, it's only £35. So you're saving over £10 on that one, so that's quite a nice little saving to be had, and it's a lovely set that could really create some stunning cards to use together. But if you want to see even more, we have bundle B. So we'll run through them as individuals. So on this one, we have our rectangle die. Now this is like a rectangle frame die. In the middle of it, we also have 3 rectangles. So we can cut out different size frames or apertures, if you like, in the middle of our frame to create different effects of those. Or of course, we can just use them as standard rectangles to layer on top of or use for something else if we wish to. We then have this nice little sentiment piece in the middle, like another topper if you wish. Has its own little flower on the edge of it again, so it really matches in quite nicely. I haven't done this, but I quite like the idea of using this as like a little pulley to put little hidden messages or sentiments behind different panels and sort of pull them out to reveal something on them. Certainly a different idea for you. That set is D115F and is only $13.99. Considering we're getting 5 dies in there, that's quite a good little price really. Lovely set to work with, cuts like a dream again. So again, lots we can do with that one. Moving on, we have a matching border. Now this one isn't like an edgeable. We often talk about edgeables. This one will actually cut out and be a freestanding die. It's not attached to anything. It has a cut blade go all the way around the edge of it, so we will just end up with that in hand. It doesn't cut into the card and stay there. You will end up with it as a freestanding item. This one is code D119F and is only $8.99. Now again, this is great. There's so many things we can do with this. I've actually got it in the top of one of my cards so I could hang things down inside an aperture. I've used it as a border, I've used it as an edge, I've used it as a stopper for a stepper card. There's loads we can do with that, so you'll get to see lots of cards I've made with this one shortly. Then moving on, we have a hexagonal create a card die. So again with this one, and worth mentioning, same with the oval create a card die, they've put these lovely little holes all the way around the edges again. So if you did want to suspend threads through them or suspend things off of them or through them, you certainly can do. But if you don't want to, they're just a beautiful die. And this lovely hexagonal obviously lends itself to being used. So you've got the flat edges at the side or on the top, and we can twist that about a bit to do quite a few different things with it. Again, you'll see that on quite a few of my cards. This one is D118F and is $15.99 if you wish to buy it separately. We then have one of my very favourite embossing folders. I absolutely love this. I think it's stunning. It's $5.99 if you wish to buy it separately. Its code is D112F if you do wish to just get that one on its own. It's really lovely set out. It's very delicate work at the top here, and then we have this really nice bar to put some ribbons through or a sentiment in the middle, and then a mirror image of the really nice filigree work at the top. Again, you're going to get to see that on lots of my cards today, so I really, really do love that one. That was Bundle B. Again, Bundle B is £35 if you wish to just buy those 4 items. The recommended retail price of that collection is £44.96. So you're saving just shy of £10 on that bundle if you wish to buy just that bundle. But of course, we as always have a mega bundle for you. So if you wish to, you can buy the whole set, which is all of Collection A and all of Collection B together for just £60. Now obviously if you buy Bundle A and Bundle B on their own, that would equal £70. So there's another £10 saving to be had here by buying it as a mega bundle. The actual total recommended retail price for the collection is £90.92, so you're saving over £30 by buying it all together in one go. And of course £60 is just incredible for that amount of dies, and stamps and an embossing folder. It really is a great little offer to be had. We do expect this to sell out very quickly. As I warned earlier, don't hesitate. If you do want it, please get holding it or ordering it as soon as you can. I'd hate you to miss out. So let's have a little look through some of the cards I've made with it, and hopefully this might help you pick if you want bundle A, bundle B, or all of it, or you might just want to cherry pick the odd items here and there. Whatever, it's up to you. The choice is yours. So let's have a look at card number 1. Now I must confess I am totally in love with this set of stamps. So I have started off with my first card coming from here. Now in the middle here we've got this lovely rose, which I know a lot of you may have already overlooked when I show you this set, but I think it's a beautiful stamp. So I've used it to actually stamp my background. So all I did is took an A4 sheet of card and just stamped it at random till I felt I'd filled in enough of the gaps. Now I was quite chuffed. One of the staff come round earlier when I was creating this, our dear Tracy, who works in our lower stuff store, and actually thought I'd used a 12 by 12 background on my card instead of stamping it myself. She was quite impressed to think I'd stamped it. So to me I was quite chuffed with that because I'd obviously done a good enough job to make it look like it was a store-bought paper. I love it when that happens. That's a sign of quality and just good workmanship really. So hopefully you'll agree it passes as quite a nice background to be had, and certainly for just such a small little stamp, what a lovely way to create a big focal point with it. On the front here I've just kept it very simple. I've used a rectangle die. I haven't layered any of the dies in the middle of it to cut it out, so it's just as a filled rectangle, and then I've cut my own rectangles to go on top of it and just stamped a little sentiment on the top of that. Really, really easy to do. Not a difficult card at all, but hopefully you'll agree it's quite an elegant card on its own right. If you're not a monochrome fan, I know not all of you like black and white. I must admit I quite like black and white cards. If you don't, colour them in. There's nothing stopping you from adding your own colour to the roses. You could paint them in with distress inks, pixie powders, colour it with pro markers, alcohol markers of any description. There's nothing stopping you from adding a bit of colour if that's not your cup of tea. Moving on, we have card number 2, and this again is using a little bit of that paper. As I said, I did an A4 sheet of it. This certainly wasn't all of it, so my offcut I've used on this card, which again shows you good value for money because it's just one sheet of card and I've got 2 card backings out of it. In the middle of this, I've used our die set. This is our D114F from Bundle A, which is the circle with the layering circle in the middle of it. So I've cut the background one just out of black card, then the front one out of white card to create these 2 layers. Now this is worth mentioning again in your stamp set. At the top here, you'll see we've got this really nice wavy border line. It's actually quite flexible. So all I did was just used it on my stamp press and sort of bent it into a sort of half circle instead and stamped it going round here. By no means is it perfect, but you certainly can bend it about a bit to use it for more than just a wavy line. On one of my cards I'm going to show you shortly, you'll see I've tried to make it into a straight border as well. And it's not perfect, but it's certainly a good way to use it. It gives you more value for money and more uses out of one stamp. Again, in the middle we have just that one rose. I was going to colour that one in actually to show you a bit of a contrast, but I quite like the black and white, so I stuck with it. But again, up to you. You could certainly play about with them ideas. It's a really simple card again, but hopefully one you'll quite like. On the front of it as well, I have one of our topper sentiment die style ones, one of these 3. This is actually the one at the bottom here. One of the bits I like with these is on all of the edges of them, they've cut these little slits in them. So if you wish to, you can thread ribbon through them. So I've just used a piece of sheer ribbon here to wrap around my actual card topper. But you can see it goes underneath my sentiment. You don't have to use them like that if you don't want to. But I did think it was quite a nice idea. It sort of ties it down to the card and make it belong a little bit more. But if you don't wish to, you don't have to. But it's just an idea for you if you wish to go that way. Your toppers, don't forget, are code D116F and is only $8.99 if you do wish to buy them separately, or they do come from Bundle A if you are after a bundle. Moving on, we have this one. Now, this is a bit of a different one. I showed you on a video not that long ago how to create our dome-fronted cards. And this is just a large dome-fronted card. It's actually an 8x8 aperture I've used to create this one. In the middle of it, I've used our oval creator card die from Bundle A, the D117F, $15.99 creator card. And then at the top here, I've used our border to create a little hanging system. So it's not perfect, but it's in there, and I've just glue gunned it down the sides to create this hanging lattice. Now, of course, that means we could hang anything you wanted to in the middle of this window. I've just added a little sentiment on a little sort of piece of cord or a little bit of ribbon, but you could hang butterflies or flowers or whatever you wanted to in the middle there. You could also tie them in little bows or knots at the top if you wanted to add more of a decoration to it. But it's just to show you a different idea for using your lattice. And also it's quite nice because instead of putting a filled-in sort of topping into the half cards that blocks the light from coming through it, this is obviously quite open. So you're not blocking the light and making it dark inside the actual aperture, but it gives you a way of hanging things from it if you wish to. Around the edge of my actual sentiment in here, let's see if we can bring that forward so you can have a little closer look at it. You're going to notice the border on here, hopefully. That's again out of our set of stamps. That's actually the border across the base of the set of stamps down here. But I only wanted half of it. I didn't want to use all of it, so I've just laid half of it on my stamp. Actually on the topper with my sentiment on. I stamped it around the edges to make up a border because I didn't want it too heavy. On the inside of my card, I've used that same border stamp again to go around the edges of my insert. I didn't want to try and match it up in the corners because I knew I'd make a hash of it. So instead I've just used this scroll stamp, this one here, and done that over the corners to try and match it all in together. And I quite like that. I thought that worked all right. So that's just a different idea for you to use that for. That was card number 3. Only several more to go. I think we've got 14 to show you today, so lots and lots of ideas hopefully for you. This is another one, just another simple one this time. In the background of this one we have our embossing folder on again. I don't know how well we're going to be able to pick that up because of being white and on camera it's not always that easy, but it is the full embossing folder. Now of course the embossing folder has that bar that runs through the middle of it. I thought it'd be quite nice to show you. You can of course cover that up, you don't have to use it. So I've used a triple layer rectangle frame die. This time I have used the rectangles in the middle of it to try and give a bit of an inverted die cut idea. So hopefully you can see the different layers here created by using the different rectangles. I really like that because it makes it look like you've got a lot more dies than you actually have. And because it's given you them rectangles, they're the perfect size to use with that die. So it's just really easy to do, but hopefully gives you a bit of a classy effect with a bit of luck. Moving on to our next card. So another simple one this time. Again, I've gone a bit stamp mad. So on our sort of backing panel here, well, I've done the same again. I've hooked on half of that border, and then I've filled in the gaps in the corners using the swirly bit to try and join it all together a little bit more. In the background here, we have another one of them rectangle dies. And then coming out of the sides, the next layer up is, of course, our really delicate part of this die. So this is the ones with your circles in. That's just the delicate border part going out of there. And as you can see, that comes out of both sides of this one. And then I've used my circles to do the top bit, stamping on my very, very pretty bird, which of course comes out of the set of stamps from today's showcase in Bundle A. That's our little bird there. Then we've got a different topper. This time I've gone for this little sentiment topper, which is out of that set. So this is the one off to the side here. And then I've just stamped my happy birthday on that to complete that card. Nice and simple again, really not too much hard work gone into that one. And I think it just shows you how beautiful those stamps are once again. And of course, if you don't want it to be black and white, why not colour the bird in and add a bit of colour to the flowers? You can even colour in the border. You'll get to see that on one of the cards I'm going to show you shortly. But you could certainly add more colour to those borders if you wish to. Now the next cards I'm going to show you, these are actually some of my favourites, and I'm going to explain to you how to make these because I want you to be able to do these again if you do get these dies. They're so simple to do, but I think they're really lovely and really easy to create. So if you actually have a look at it, you can see we've got sort of a double layer piece joined together at the sides here. Now there's two options with these. You can push the sides in to send it flat if you wish to, or you can pull it out so that it goes flat but longer. Either's fine, but I quite like them if you push them in. I also quite like it if it stands with the sides slightly pushed in. And the reason is it'll actually show you then through the middle our die that we've got going on in the layer in the centre of it. Obviously, chatting about the dies, we of course have the hexagonal create a card die which comes from Bundle B. Then down the sides here we've got the border die, and I think this is the first time we're getting to see this, but it's a really lovely die and it's perfect for the sides of this card, and the measurements I'm going to give you means that you'll have just the right layer around the edge of it to actually use that on there. The border die, of course, if you want to buy it on its own, is only £8.99, so it's not an expensive die. And then in the middle here, actually between our layers of card, I've added the border in from this set again. I do love this border, so I've added one of them in each side. And then on the back of my actual card, we have the embossing folder done with one of the little sentiment toppers actually added to the middle of it. Now, before I explain to you how we made this, I just wanted to show you it in a different colour. Once again, I know not everybody's into white work necessarily, so it of course looks quite lovely in colours too. So this time I've gone for some Centura Pearl, and I've used the lilac colour scheme on this one with a bit of cream and white. Same dies again, except we've gone for the oval in the middle, but we've got the same border, the same backing bit, the same embossing folder at the back. Oh, is it the same topper? Yeah, same topper in the middle as well. So it is just a different one of the creator cards. But that's good because it shows you that whatever bundle you do end up with, if you do go for an A or a B, you could create this card with that bundle if you wish to. So to create the card is really, really, really easy. You may have seen these before. They do actually do them in packs, I believe, one company, but you really don't need to buy a pack. They're so simple to create. So all I have done is taken 2 sheets of A4 card, and I've just cut them down, so they're A4 in length, if you like, and I've cut them down to 5 inches wide. I say 5 inches, I'm sure they were 5 inches. Well, they're 5.5. 5.5, sorry. I stand correctly. 5.5 inches, definitely. And now all we're going to do is score them at both ends. So you're going to score them at 4.5 centimetres and 8 centimetres. Then you're going to turn it around to the other end, and you're going to score at 4.5 and 8. And you're going to do that to 2 pieces of card. And then once you've done that, we fold in and out. So we're going to fold into it and back out again to create that shape. And that's all we do. That's as simple as that. And then from here, if you wish to, you don't have to, but if you wish to, like on my ones, I've then just used a knife and a ruler to cut out an aperture in the front here, going by the size of my die to actually give me an indication of where I need to cut, mark it with pencil lines, cut out a window in the front of it, and then you can just add your die onto it. Now when you do cut a window, if you are going to do this style of card, obviously make sure the window isn't exactly the same size as the die, because if not the die will just fall through it. You do want the window to be stepped in just slightly. If I remember rightly, I did about 1 centimetre's edge around mine, and then that's enough for you to actually glue the die to the front of it, and it will stay there. Now of course the bits in the middle, these delicate border pieces, all you have to do with them is stick them coming out from the sides in between your layers and glue them together. And it's as simple as that. That will then create your flat folding card. Simple as that. So just a little bit of glue on them 2 sides and you've got it made. So hopefully, whether you end up with this bundle or you don't, that's a really easy fold that if you haven't done before, it's been around a while, but if you haven't done it before, it's certainly one you can give a go. So, with that in mind, now we've got that out of the way, let's move on and show you a few more cards I've been creating. So, on this one, this one's really, really easy, but I quite liked it, so I wanted to share this one with you. This is just a really simple card. Just the embossing folder done out of mirror board, layered up, and then I have put ribbons around the middle just because of where that embossing folder is. It's just really screaming out to put some ribbon in the middle of it, so I really like it when we do that. And then of course we have the circles from our circle set, which was D114F1199, just layered on there. They're of course out of bundle A, your embossing folder is out of bundle B. Moving on, we have more of our stamps. So this time we've got the rose stamp, and I've actually heat embossed that this time. I've used the same edgeable border stamp and just used half of it around the sides. Haven't worried this time that I overlapped on the corners because I wanted a bit more of a shabby chicy style, and I've heat embossed them as well. That border that we stretched into a circle earlier has actually been used around the edge of this layer to create our square border. And then in the middle here, you're going to see that I've got the rectangle die used, but I wanted to show you how we could extend it. So all I've done is cut 2 of them out of Centura Gold Pearl, and then I've actually joined them underneath where my ribbon is. So under here, you've got both of them layered on top, and then a ribbon joined round it just to hide the join. That way we can make it into a much bigger panel, and there's nothing stopping you doing that. to create a different effect. Of course, you could cut one down and you could shrink it down a bit as well. It doesn't have to go to being a square, but it does give you a bit more room to play with, and certainly means that you can then use it to put squares in the middle of it if you wish to. As you can see, I've just added a little sentiment to the side here and then just layered those bits on. Again, really, really quick and easy card to make, but it does show you a different way in which you could use your rectangle. Now the next card, I can't lie, I really don't like it, but I want to show it to you because there's a few bits on it I like if you take them as individual components. You might not like all of it together. It actually really reminds me of Halloween, but there's nothing wrong with that. I have to show you the good and the bad. So on this one, what we have this time is I've got one panel that I've done some stamping on, and this is where this started. I wanted to show you that with your stamps, you could create bigger backgrounds with them. So if I just steal this stamp sheet from our mega bundle, you can see on here I've used this stamp from up the top. I've picked a different flower to stamp in the middle of it, and then I've used this really teeny weeny stamp just to break up the middles of it. And I quite like this. I thought that worked out quite well, and of course we could add more to it or less to it if you wanted to, or we could add sentiments in here if you wish to. There's loads we could do with it. But then I decided I wanted to colour it, and I hadn't got the right colour pens at home, so I ended up with this sort of Halloween-y colour scheme to it. But once I'd got it, I thought I would run with it. So hence why we have this going on. But of course you could colour this any way you wanted to. But I didn't mind that, and then I added in more to it, and I think I went wrong. But again, you could just break down the individual components. On the back here, we have the oval creator card die, cut out of black, layered onto white card, and then I've coloured it in, which again I quite liked. Didn't mind that too much, but I think together it's all a bit too heavy. Next level down we have the flowers. Now this time I've just used a different flower die, just one I'd got laying about, but I've popped them into the embossing folder and sent them through, and then I've rubbed a black ink pad over the top of them to pick up the embossing folder design. Again, I quite like the flowers, don't mind the flowers, but altogether it's just a bit too heavy for me personally. Behind that we have the embossing folder just cut down into a panel, because of course where we've got the top and the bottom and the ribbon bit in the middle, there's nothing stopping you from just cutting off the top or the bottom and using it just as a backing panel. So that's what I've done here. I've added in a lovely border bit from that over, circle and border die just to pop out of the top of there. And then I showed you the stamp earlier and said how we could colour the border. I quite like that as well. So I sort of quite like each individual component. I just don't really like all of it together. But hopefully the whole purpose of these videos is to give you a few ideas, and that's more what this is aimed at. It's just showing you how you can of course colour in that. You could do your flowers in your embossing folder, or if you want to add colour to them you can. But you don't have to pretend you like it if you don't, because I won't be offended, because I'm not convinced I do either. But the ideas are there if you wish to use them. Moving on, I will show you another card which I do actually quite like. This time I've gone for a bit more of a cool colour scheme. We've got a nice blue going on in the background that I've used my embossing folder on. We then have the hexagonal die, which is from bundle B, on the top of that. And then we've actually got the circular or more circular ovary style sentiment topper die used to add our sentiment onto that one. Same flowers as what I was just showing you on the last card, so that gives you an idea of the difference between if you leave them alone or if you do the die cutting and colouring with them. So a different idea for you there as well. And again, I've threaded ribbon through that, which is worth mentioning, because I really do quite like it when you put ribbon through it, especially this time because I've used a slightly too wider ribbon, so you sort of get that gathered, pulled in effect around the sides, and I quite like that. Moving on to our next one. Now Tracy, who works here, reckons this is her favourite, so hopefully you'll like this one too. This time we've gone for more of a burgundy and cream colour scheme. We've got the hexagonal creator card die again from bundle B, and then we've used our stamps again. I just love these stamps. So on here, I wanted to show you a different idea. So underneath my die, I've just added a piece of cream card, but I penciled through a little line on each side of my hexagonal so I could see where I wanted to stamp. And then I've used this swirl to just stamp against each side of it, so there's a bit more interest, and it sort of shrunk down the size of the hexagonal so that I could put a smaller item in the middle. Without all of this bit, that just looked a little bit lost, and I didn't really want to add any more to it. So that was where I was going anyway. Of course, your bird cage does come out of your set of stamps. That's this little bird cage here. And then we've got our little bird again from down the side. his, of course, unique little set of stamps as well. And then on the bottom here, we've got the happy birthday on our little sentiment pulley bit that's on our rectangle frame set. Then we have the border die used actually as a stopper instead, foam padded on. And under that, of course, we have our embossing folder. And as you can see, that border bit fits perfectly between the two lines on the embossing folder to give you a different use for them as well. So they do really work well together. So I didn't mind that one. I quite like diamond cards. I've gotten into a bit of a thing of doing diamond cards. Again, we chatted a couple of weeks ago in a video on showing you how to take a square card and turn it into a diamond. So if you haven't seen that, do look back at the previous videos because you'll get to see a little bit more of that in that one. We'll put a stamp back over there and we'll move on to another card. I'm nearly through them all. I promise, only a couple more to go. So on this one, we have a stepper rectangle. This time I've done it in black card and I've gone gilding wax mad. You'll probably notice the state of my fingers. There's lots of gilding polish on these ones. Added to the frame. And then on the background here, we have the two different parts to the embossing folder. So as I said, nothing's stopping you cutting it down. So we've got the top and the bottom for them. We've then got that really nice border one coming out the top for them again. All just added with a little bit of gilding wax to give it a bit of a sparkle. And then last week I subtly dropped in a Christmas card and I've done it again. I apologise. I know I got in trouble a little bit for this last week and I've gone and done it again, so I do apologise. I know it still is only February, but this offer will end in March, so we're sort of getting there. But I wanted to show you how really these could be used for all seasons and themes. It doesn't just have to be a spring, summery, floral idea. There's nothing stopping you dressing them up for Christmas. It's only going to be colour dependent to the season you want to use them for. So of course we have the embossing folder going on in the background. I've gilding waxed over the top of that one. We then have one of our little sentiment toppers again with a little bit of gilding wax over the top of that. And then I've just added in a few more of our Christmas dies from what we've got in stock, just to give you a different idea of that one. And of course a little bit of Christmas ribbon, just to really hammer home that it really is a Christmas card. But you might not be ready for Christmas yet, and I understand if you're not, it is only February. But it doesn't hurt to have things in your stash for when you are taken by the festive mood, which I'm sure will come to all of us eventually, even if you're not ready yet. Now lastly, they are all of the cards I've managed to make today, but I have just a few bits I wanted to chat to you about to show you different ideas of what you can do with some of the bits you're going to get in your stamp sets and embossing folders and that. So I've shown you our backing already that I've created. This is the same stamp from on our backing, but I wanted to show you it really is quite nice if you want to add a sentiment into that. Obviously on a lot of my cards today, I've been using the sentiment topper dies instead. But if you don't wish to use a die or you just buy the stamp set, there's no reason why you can't add in your own words and sentiments into the middle of them, and it does make a nice little sentiment. I also want to show you how lovely that is as a corner, that nice swirl stamps. There's nothing wrong with just using it as a corner stamp. This I just wanted to stamp it because I think it's lovely and I hadn't got to use it on a card today, but I really wanted to show it to you. That's our lovely frame from down here. Other bits I haven't used on my cards, but I want you to see. We've got a really nice postage stamp in the middle. You've got this little postmark here. We've got postmarks at the bottom there. We've got lovely little flourishy bits. These are quite nice as well because you get both sides of them, so there's quite a lot of bits we can do with them. And then this bit at the top, hidden away, I love this. This is like a really nice little border piece. And although it's quite a small stamp, I wanted to show you how there's no reason you can't match it up to create longer borders. So this might be a bit too long for what you'd use on a card because it is nearly A4, but it shows you it's quite easy to match up and continue. And again, leaves a lovely gap in the middle of it for you to either add a sentiment or a piece of ribbon if you wish to. So I just used a stamp press to do mine. But of course you could do it with a rocker block or any other stamp medium. Really, it really isn't that hard to match it up, and it really does give you quite a nice effect as a border. Again, if you wanted to, you could just use half of it and stamp it as a border along the side of a card or a topper piece instead. You don't have to have it as both pieces. That's the good bit with stamps. There's so many ways we can use them to create different effects with them, but that's it just as a border if you wish to. Now, last thing I wanted to show you, and again, we did this on a video not that long ago, but I'm so in love with this embossing folder, I just didn't want to leave without showing you these. These are two different panels I've created just by taking an ink pad and going all over one side of my embossing folder, popping my card in the middle of it and sending it through my embossing machine. When we do that, it means that the ink is on all of the raised bit, but not in all of the indentations. So when it goes through the machine, the ink will squidge onto one side of the card, but not the bits that the ink isn't on, obviously, which is your indents. So it means that all of this raised embossed bit stays plain, so you get the colour of the card come through, but the ink will take to all of the other areas. So obviously I've done a blue and a yellow one, just to give you a couple of ideas. But I just love that technique. I think it's a really lovely one to do. And again, just highlights how really delicate and lovely these designs are. Now, obviously, in a lot of my cards, I've used this as a sort of horizontal bar. There's nothing stopping you from turning it into a vertical as well. It is a really universal embossing folder for that. So lots and lots and lots we could do with that one if you wish to. So before I let you go, we'll just take a very quick run through Bundle A, Bundle B and your Mega Bundle again, just in case you are still on the fence and you're not too sure which bundle to go for. So in Bundle A, you have your set of stamps. They're $8.99. If you do wish to buy them on their own, they're code D113F, $8.99. Then we have your Oval Creator Card die, which is code D117F, and that one is $15.99. We then have your Sentiment Topper dies. Now these are code D116F, and now only $8.99. Then we have your Circles and Border die. This is code D114F, they're $11.99, and you can buy all 4 of them items as Bundle A for just £35. Should cost you £45.96 if you bought them individually. Bundle B. This consists of your rectangle frame die with your nesting pieces in the middle and your little tab in the centre of that. This is code D115F, and that is $13.99. We then have your border die, which is code D119F, which is $8.99. And we have your hexagonal creator card die, which is D118F, which is $15.99. And then lastly in Bundle B, we have that gorgeous embossing folder, which is only $5.99 and code D112F. Bundle B again is only £35. It's worth £44.96. Or of course you can buy all of Bundle A and Bundle B together in our mega bundle for just £60. That will give you one of each item. £60 for all of that should be £90.92. So a saving of over £30. As I said earlier, if you wish to, you can pop onto our Facebook page or you can hold it on our YouTube page as well. Just on either of them, pop in the comments the items you would like and the store you wish to collect from, and we will have them held for you up until 5 PM on Saturday the 3rd of March, which of course is when these offers end as well. If you don't wish to have it held in store, then of course you can have it sent to you. Doesn't matter if you live 5 minutes down the road or literally anywhere in the world. We will post anything to you wherever you may be. If you do wish to do that, pop on our website and find your way around it. We have a Sunday Showcase tab. You can pop on there and find all of the items we've been chatting about today. If you are viewing us from abroad and you're a little bit confused by our prices, we have literally this week added a currency converter. So you can pop in our prices, including all our P&Ps and that, and convert it to whichever country you're shopping from to see how much it will cost you in your currency. If you go through and then send your order to us, with your P&P, you pay £20. If we get it cheaper than £20, then we of course refund you the difference. If it costs more than £20, then we actually pay it ourselves, so you're not out of pocket. If you're in the UK and you're shopping with us, if you spend over £35 in one transaction, you receive free P&P. If it's under £35, then it's just a flat rate of £2.75. But of course today, both of your bundles, if you bought them as Bundle A or Bundle B, or the Mega Bundle, will of course qualify for a free P&P. So that's a nice little bonus too, isn't it? If you've enjoyed today's video, please do subscribe to us on YouTube. We have been delighted this week. We've actually hit over 550 subscribers, which just seems incredible. I can remember not that long ago we was really trying to aim for 100. So to now be on 550 is absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We would love it if you join in with us and subscribe to us. If you've enjoyed today's video, please do give us a like. And if you will do, please share it as well. That's really appreciated. All of my projects from today will be put onto our Pinterest page. So if you do want to pop on there and pin any of the items you've seen today, that way you can refer back to them at any point in time. We'd love you to do that too. Thank you so much for watching. And I will be back next Sunday with a brand new video. So hopefully see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.